We also have Major Mohommed Ali Shah, who's joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, Major Shah, for taking the time out and joining us early this morning. We've accessed some explosive WhatsApp group details, to say the least. And these WhatsApp group details talk about a certain group named Ghazwa-E-Hind that was created. Now, this group had some 181 members, Major Shah, and what we're given to understand is that there was one common thread that was talked about in this WhatsApp group, which was about jihad. How do you view, the creation of a group like this, the fact that there were members from Bangladesh as well as Pakistan in the group, and that the ulterior motive of the group, so to speak, was to create some sort of law and order situation in India?
Absolutely. I totally condemn this kind of a group, and strong and immediate action should be taken against all the members of the group. Even a person who might say, I was just a federal member, I was just an observer, I wasn't posting anything. No. But the very fact that the person knew what the group is all about. And I think, and now when we say we cannot take action against a foreign national, but I'm sure our diplomatic ties are strong enough to ensure that action should be taken. And secondly, let me assure everyone about one thing about the term called Ghazwa-E-Hind. Well, if they say they had a mission up to 2047, that where we finish 100 years of freedom, where they will have this nonsense such as Ghazwa-E-Hind, Muhammad Ali Shah and many like Muhammad Ali Shah will not allow this to happen in our country. We will see there's a lot of hatred happening from both the sides, unfortunately, and this hatred there should be an end to it. If there's so much of hatred which is allowed to happen, then where's love? I believe that hate begets hate and love begets love. It's about time that we actually set an example and we actually start spreading love so that the world is a much better place to live in. But this whole nonsense, this whole bunkum, this whole figment of imagination in someone's mind, that would not be fulfilled. And that is not a challenge, it's a promise. I am telling you, and there are enough of Muslims in our country who are very proud Muslims and who are Indians before they are Muslims. They would not allow such nonsense to happen in our country.
Absolutely, Major Shah. I think it's pertinent to talk about what happens when such groups are created. It is, of course, a known fact that the youth, when it comes to the youth of, not just India, but these other countries as well, they are being radicalized, right? They're being radicalized by extremist elements. So then when it comes to sort of dealing with these extremist elements, what is it that we do? What is the way forward here? Because we've talked about the extremists for a long time, but we need to look forward now. So what, according to you, is that needs to be done to sort of deal with these extremist elements that exist?
Right. If we kill one extremist, 10 heads will be born thereafter. So that's not the end. The end is you kill the ideology. When the ideology is finished, it would take care of the rest. Now, how do we finish the ideology? By making them aware, by educating them, by telling them that when it has to come from within the community. When within the community they call out the shots and they say, what you guys are doing, the youngsters are being brainwashed by Islamic radicals across the border, and they were used, I will not say now, and I'm not too sure, but they were used to work against the interest of the country. I written an open letter to Jaish-e-Mohammed, the terrorist outfit, in the year 2019, 14 February 2019 to be precise, when the Pulwama attacks took place, and that letter went so viral. It had over 10 million shares. Your channel covered it extensively, in fact. In that, I mentioned how the Islamists, the radicals, the extremists are the true enemies of Islam, how they only give rise to Islamophobia, how they but luckily, I would say, I'm told, I don't know the facts, that letter had some effect somewhere, and it did reach the perpetrators where it was meant to have reached. And for whatever, the society will not change unless until we change our own selves. I made an effort. Similarly, there are a lot of other people also who are making an effort. So what needs to be done is Yes, strong law and order jurisdiction action, yes, no doubt. But more than that, you can take a horse to a water, you can't make it drink. You have to make them understand and realize that they are only being pawns, they are being used, and they are being made fools of, they are being made scapegoats of. When they begin to realize that उनका बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. You know, they are shown dreams of heaven and hoods and damsels there and rubbish like that. So when they are made to realize it by educated people from within the community, then they will know, oh yes, there's nothing of that sort, and they are only going to be used and thrown and chucked like a hot potato thereafter. So that is one thing which can be done, and I strongly urge everyone to call out the shots over there.
You know, Major Shah, very interestingly, you mentioned that they're shown dreams of heaven, and you know, they're shown certain ways of life that are not delivered upon. You know, it's been seen in the past as well. The ISIS reaches out to these youth via the internet. They show them some sort of videos, you know, some sort of unrealistic states that they can create for them, you know, styles of living. But when they actually reach states where the ISIS exists, there's absolutely nothing that exists, and what exists is persecution, radicalization. So then, you know, and then of course we come back to this Ghazwa-E-Hind WhatsApp group that we've been talking about. Do you think that we also need to keep a more stringent check on what is accessed on the internet? Is that something that we need to do now?
Oh, most certainly, most certainly. In fact, the cyber police, the cyber security, we should be really very alert on that, because most of the hate is spread through the WhatsApp groups, through the internet, through social media. And they need to be a strong, stringent action against them, first. Secondly, there should be a proper check. You know, I will give you an example. When I was in academy, when I was training, we had an instructor called, that time, Captain Lovelace Pangal, now Colonel Pangal. So during the exams, and normally if you are unprepared for an exam, you have a tendency to cheat, to look into the neighbor's paper. He would say, you all may not be cheating, but if I feel that you are even lifting your head, I will snatch off the paper from you. But that was enough to instill the fear of God into us. We wouldn't even dare to lift our eyes. Similarly, there should be a check on these social media sites where, if there's a ruling that comes out, that okay, it could be hate, and if we feel it's hate, you would be punished. Trust me. And when you talk about the Bangladesh 1, Bangladesh 2, there were these participants in that WhatsApp group. How silly is that? How silly. And the maximum limit of our WhatsApp group, if I'm not mistaken, was 256, and then now it's gone up to almost 500. So this just shows the kind of support they must be having. 100 and something of participants on there, this thing, silly, rebukable, laughable, and they're living in a fool's paradise. They need to wake up and come to terms with reality and see that, you know, people like Mohommed Ali Shah are there, who are not scared of anyone, not scared of anyone, I reinstate that. And we would not allow that to happen. Plain and simple.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for joining us on the broadcast and giving us your inputs. Thank you so much to Major Shah as well for taking the time out and joining us.